What you doing, Otaku? I'm the AC, and I'm going to talk about One Piece Stampede today. I went and saw it a few days ago, and I just wanted to share my thoughts while they're still floating around my head. So, this will most likely be my first video for my segment, What You Doing, Otaku. So, if you want a little spoil-free review because you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to know what happens, all I'll say is it was super exciting. There was a whole lot of action, whole lot of characters. It is a really fun movie. So, if you haven't seen it, find a way to see it. It's really worth it. Now, to my experience watching it, first I want to talk about the theater was packed. It's awesome to go to theater and see how full it was. I almost didn't get a seat. I was like, I don't think anime movies are that popular to see in theaters. I've been to a couple and didn't have a problem. I got there was 2 seats left. Both of them were reserved for like companion handicapped people, but they sold one to me anyways. So sweet. The other thing is that the movie got nice little card. Ooh yeah. I actually got 2 of them, which one I put on my wall because somebody left there, so I snagged it. So, my initial thoughts on the movie, it was pretty much all action the whole time. There's a story. Doesn't matter that much. That's not why you see this movie. It's hardly had any downtime. Like, there was a little bit, it was like, this is a story, this is what's going on, and then you're like, okay, doesn't matter that much. Let's get back to the fighting. But the problem with, I wouldn't say problem, a thing I always think about when I go into the movie, the anime movie, is where does this fit in chronologically with the series? And if you go in thinking that, you kind of want more emphasis on the story, but once you see how cool the fighting is in this movie, all the action, you're like, I don't care about all this stuff. Let's just talk about all the cool fight scenes, because overall the story of this movie most likely won't affect the series. We'll see. So, first off, throughout the movie there are almost 2 main characters. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but most of them just seem like cameos. They pop up, they leave, and oh well. No, it's like you want to see more of them, but it's like there's so many, you can't see them all do too much. But one good thing it does show is they pop up long enough to show how strong they are, especially, and then show how strong the Straw Hat crew can still become. And I'll talk about examples in that later. But one thing that really stands out is, compared to the rest of the Worst Generation, the Straw Hat crew definitely leads the way. You see it right out of the gate. They come from behind to automatically get right up first in their race to try to find the treasure, Stampede. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Like I said, I didn't care that much for the story, generic, but it was all the action. Getting their ship to fly, compared to everyone else having to ride the wave up in their little spiral. And then, in the fight scenes, of course, Luffy has the most fighting. He's the one leading the charge against the big bad guy, who is Bullet. If you didn't know that already, he is from Gold Roger's old crew, and he actually does have a cool backstory, and it just shows pretty much like how badass he was, and always will be. And man, he's one of the first villains, antagonists of One Piece, where I was like, man, this guy may be too strong. I don't know how they're going to beat him. But, man, their fight, where the whole captains pretty much of the Worst Generation come together to fight him, really does seem unstoppable. But once again, most of the action's focused on Luffy, which is cool. He's a captain, whatever. I have other favorite characters, and but even though Luffy is kind of the focus, nobody really stands out that much. He doesn't really do anything new action-wise, or nothing cooler than anything he's done before, at least series-wise. And none of the other pirates do too. There are some cool moments though that I did like. My favorite character overall is Usopp. I don't know why. I can't help it. Maybe it's because he seems like a wimp, but he still has some cool moments. Like in this movie, he finally gets the treasure. Bullet beats the shit out of him. And then, when everyone else is down, he pops back up to protect Luffy, shooting his little seed bullets, and they plant into Bullet's machine. And then, it doesn't show anything else. It's like, this is when Usopp could have, like, really shown. It just showed, like, him about to be attacked, and then it cuts away to, you know, what's going on in the rest of the story. I'm not going to get into that. I'm talking about my favorite moments. So, that happens. The other cool part, and this gets back to showing how strong the One Piece, or no, pirates are, and how strong the Straw Hat crew can get. There's a part where there's a meteor coming down, and Zoro cuts it in half. That's awesome. But then he realized, oh no, it's still going to crash and pretty much just obliterate everything. But then that's when Mihawk pops up. You know, the guy who helped Zoro become even more badass. And then he just tosses up the meteor. There's a nice little eye contact between the two of them, and you're like, Zoro's going to get much stronger. But let's talk more about Bullet. So he escaped Impel Down. He's this badass. He's just too strong, and it's kind of makes you want to know, like, how strong was the rest of Goldie Roger's crew. So much so that their solution apparently is to just destroy the rest of the island, which Bullet is pretty much doing anyways. He has the power to pretty much shape the island and take all this metal to make him get bigger and bigger. Unstoppable. How you gonna beat him? Luffy already pretty much got destroyed, near death, but like most anime fights, that doesn't stop them. Chopper comes up, you know, fixes up Luffy, Usopp. Luffy's right back at it. So this is where I start to be like, okay, I mean, yeah, typical fight, but it's like they already had this big fight with all the worst generation against him. It's like, who is going to pop up now to take down Bullet? This is where I was like, oh, you know, it'd be cool. This whole time, Luffy's been talking about how he's going to protect his friends, and he fights for him, especially when Usopp got destroyed. And I was like, what if all the Straw Hats came together and then fought Bullet and beat him? You know, something all the rest of the worst generation couldn't do. And then that didn't happen. That was a little disappointing. I mean, it was cool. It wasn't, it's just, the climax seemed too early. So this final battle, it's the typical, like, struggle and then, boom, one strong hit and you're down, kind of thing. But, oh well, little things. It was my preference. I really like the Straw Hat crew. You want to see them fight together more. And it's like, I feel like you don't see that. You see them fight individually. Cool, whatever. But it's like, I can't think of a time where they all came together and fought one thing at once. Maybe that's too much of a climax to do right now. But, man, action. Not too much action, but like almost too much to like express how cool it was. It was so exciting, and especially seeing it in a theater is always the best place to see these kind of anime movies. There's one other thing that was kind of obvious. Once they reveal that the treasure that they're all fighting for is Rough Tail's Eternal Post, you know, the place where apparently Gold Roger hid One Piece, I was like, right away, I was like, okay, well that can't exist. That would just mean the series is going to get over and blah blah. I was like, okay, Luffy's going to get it, and he's probably going to destroy it because he doesn't want. Guess what happens? That's exactly what happens. So, I don't know. I'm not going to brag, say I'm psychic or anything, but I'm pretty good at predicting endings. That's why when things happen unexpectedly or catch me by surprise, I love it. So this movie wasn't that surprising. It was just awesome and fun to watch. So, my last thing is when the movie was ending, credits rolling, people started leaving. I was like, one, why would you leave for anime credits? I understand other movies, but I was like, it's just cool to watch. I mean, the music, the credits, scenes that were going through. But I mean, that's how I got my extra card. Just the guy next to me left, and I was like, whatever. But and then it pays off because in like Marvel fashion, which isn't that unusual in anime, they had an extra after credit scene, and it was cool. It was simple, but it was enough to be like, some history. You don't see much of Gold Roger, but this scene did. It shows him pretty much being like, the fuck did you make this Eternal Post for? Nobody that's a real pirate is going to use it, and then he just takes it and chug it. It's like, sweet. But overall, those are the main big things I enjoyed. Normally, I am story focused. That's why I like. But this movie, the action was top notch. This didn't get drug on, even though there was some, action cliches or whatever. It's easy enough to ignore. It wasn't a terribly long movie. It wasn't too short. Maybe if they made it longer, they could have put more story thought into it. We'll see. But anyways, thanks for watching this if you did. If you have your own comments and thoughts on the movie, what you liked, what you didn't like, maybe something I said you didn't like, who knows. Just leave some comments. Tell me about it. Let's have a discussion. I like chatting. But anyways, thanks again. Bye.